I will open it up to the audience now. Does anyone want to be very brave and raise their hand and ask something in person? Yes.
Hi, this question's to all of the panel. I was just wondering, when you're in a classroom and you've got a particularly challenging student, you spend all year with them, you really invest in trying to, maybe manage the problems they present, and they're just not giving anything back, and they're not really coming around, and you're treating them with respect, you've been calm, all those kinds of key things. How do you deal with that? Because you've invested and now you're maybe disappointed. How would you deal with a student like that in the classroom?
Can I have a go at that? One of the absolute joys, but will look like a frustration, is that there are times when you will invest deeply in someone and you will not see the fruit of that labour. So there are times when you will work really hard on the student and not on them, with them. So you develop the relationship, you get into their space, you find out who they are, you do everything that you can do to help them grow, and they don't either see it or you don't see the improvement. And so it's kind of almost like you've planted the seed and you've watered it, but someone else gets to see the plant and the fruit. And sometimes for various reasons you just have to be okay with that, okay? Because everyone has a different growth path to them, and some people, there's a fight, they don't grow very well, and then a period of time later they do, and they see fruit. And I had a student many, many years ago who I really enjoyed teaching, but she always seemed just a bit resistant to it. And she wrote me a letter probably 10 years later and said, thank you for investing and persisting when I was actually pushing back, and she was pushing back on me. And that just, at the time, I just got into the year, this is year 12 with her, I'm like, I've worked really hard for 2 years with you, I haven't seen the kind of the movement back that I would want or normally see. 10 years later I get a letter. And then the interesting thing is she'd worked out who she was, but she needed to be out of school. So one of the points that Billy was making is that sometimes the very formal nature of schooling, tied in with the whole adolescent growth thing and everything else, is that there are a lot of things happening, and only when someone moves into sort of an adult post-school phase where they start becoming who they are, and they start realising the value that you contributed to that. Most of the time you'll never hear about that, you'll probably never even see it. But sometimes you just know you put in the work and the fruit will come, and someone else will see that fruit, but you've done the work. And if you value that person, you just keep working on them. And even if they're pushing, you keep working.
I think the only thing I could add to that, as a new teacher who has not had the perspective or the range of that yet, I've only just seen my first group of year 11s, just about to finish year 12 now. And I have to say, the only thing I could possibly add to that is you've got to have thick skin. You've got to never take it personally, and you've got to not allow that to then shape your relationship with them. Like, obviously it might be an indicator you have to try a little bit harder, maybe it's an indication you need to step back a little bit and they're resisting because they feel a little bit smothered, but all you can do is to be consistent and don't treat them differently to others because of it, and try and approach them with that fresh sense every day. So if they are particularly difficult for you one afternoon, don't come in the next morning holding on that grudge, because they will sense it and that will only worsen the relationship.
The thing I'll add to that too is that sometimes students, their strategy is they'll push hard back on you, and that the plan is that you'll get tired of it and you'll just let them be. You'll just let them do what they want to do. And other students, if you draw them close and you keep investing them despite everything else, so they keep shoving at you and you keep pulling them in. Okay? It says when someone values you, they keep committing. They learn something about life when you commit despite them shoving.